You are tuning in to the You Are Loved podcast, where we hope to bring love and kindness to the world.
Welcome to another You Are Loved podcast, where today I have the amazing Sarah Dawkins, who is a highly sought after holistic health and healing coach, keynote speaker, and the author of Heal Yourself. She's also a multi-award winning entrepreneur and host of the popular health-focused podcast, Heal Yourself with Sarah Dawkins. As a former registered nurse with over 20 years of medical experience, Sarah brings a unique, integrative perspective to her work. Sarah's expertise spans from self-healing, multiple chronic health issues, to supporting clients and uncovering and addressing the root causes of their symptoms, empowering them to achieve vibrant, lasting health and transformative wellness. Welcome to the show, Sarah.
Thank you so much, Jacqueline.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming on. And I see you have your books behind you in all different languages.
Yes.
And so that's amazing. So tell us about like your journey, like what brought you to writing these books and holistic healing and so forth.
So I was in the medical model. I was raised that way. I went into nursing fully believing that we need doctors, we need pills and prescriptions and diagnoses as part of our healing journey. But somebody challenged me at work one day when I was nursing in the US. And so I started to look into what our bodies are capable of and look into further about the pharmaceuticals that I would buy over the counter and that we would take, regularly, because that's how I was raised. And I started to realize that our bodies are far more powerful than we've ever been told. I was just never told that during my nursing or growing up. I was just told if you've got a symptom, you need a doctor or a medication or over the counter something and take that and you are healed, in air quotes. So as I started my own healing journey, I healed a whole range of different things, from psoriasis, eczema, acid reflux were the first things, chronic pain, candida, bulimia nervosa, and then I went on to heal an underactive thyroid, burned out adrenal glands, and depression with suicidal thoughts.
Wow.
And that got me to the stage of writing my book. I'm like, wow, I've healed all this. I need to tell the world, because I was quite naive, thinking, well, if I didn't know this, there's got to be other people that didn't know this too. So I wrote about my own healing and realized I needed to actually put more people in healing more different conditions to prove to people that we can heal our bodies, that we really are that powerful.
Yeah.
And our bodies just heal. When we get a cut or a bruise, we don't think, oh, well, I'm going to heal that.
Yeah.
It just heals. So why not MS or ALS or autoimmune or cancer or, any of these diseases? Why not? Why can we not heal them? And myself and all these people in my book are testament that actually we can heal ourselves. So it was quite a journey spanning 2005. I was questioned. So we're now 24. So 19 years.
Yeah, that's amazing. So, and then when people, so do you talk about, like, in your book, Heal Yourself, do you just talk about your own journey, or do you talk about other people's journeys as well?
I share my own journey, my background that fed into the illnesses that I had. But the other people in my book, they've healed themselves, wrote their own chapters. So every healer's got their own chapter.
Oh, that's great.
I just tweaked some of the words for colloquialisms and for better and easier understanding, because not everybody spoke English when I published my first book in English.
Right. Okay. Oh, that's amazing. So psoriasis, they really, like, a lot of times I think the doctors treat that with steroids, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I've just had another breakout under my eye and around my nose here a couple of weeks ago. And it's because I'm continuing to heal. It's easy to look at it and go, oh God, you've failed. You're having another breakout. And But actually, as we heal, it's like peeling an onion, another layer. And because I pushed that into my body using steroid creams,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
now coming up for healing naturally.
Yeah.
So it's like a re-emergence, if you will. And
Yeah.
it's proof that I'm healing.
Yeah. It's crazy because, like, with kids that are in, like, elementary school and, kindergarten and stuff like that, it's like they get sick a lot because kids are just gross creatures, and they don't know about sanitation and washing your hands and all that stuff, but they get sick a lot, and I feel like it's even worse now with a lot of, like, and then, like, I don't wanna talk about vaccinations, but with a lot of over medications and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Like, every time you just feeling a little sick, the parent rushes to the doctor and gives antibiotics, steroids, like all this stuff. So it's like you're just suppressing everything and you're not really giving your body, like, mind you, I really think definitely need antibiotics in moderation for sure. I definitely would, if we were like at a shortage, I'd want to have some in my underground cave, you know what I mean? But
They certainly have a place.
yeah.
My dad had sepsis, pleurisy, and pneumonia all together, and he wouldn't be
Wow.
alive if it wasn't for Western medicine, antibiotics, and fluid. But actually,
Wow.
before that infection sets in, we start getting a bit of a fever, a bit of a high temperature.
Yeah,
We
which
might
helps
have
fight.
we might have an area that a cut or something that we can see is becoming infected. So before we reach for the antibiotics further down the line, there's
Yeah.
things that we can take. Nature's got its own medicine,
Yeah.
its own antibiotics. So there's alternatives that we can use outside of pharmaceuticals before we wait until it gets so serious that we actually need an antibiotic.
Yeah. What's a natural way to heal, like poison ivy or or something like
We
that?
don't have poison ivy here in Spain or in the
Oh,
UK. But it ultimately leads to hives, doesn't it?
I don't know if it's I don't know because I don't really know what hives are. Like, I've never had hives like my aunt, but I do know that when my dog gets in poison ivy, it's an allergic reaction. So then maybe that is what hives are, but they don't go away. And then if I scratch it, it spreads over my body. I hate it.
Yeah, so
So
it's an itchy, raised,
yeah, yeah,
lumpy
yeah,
thing,
yeah,
isn't it? Of
yeah,
my understanding. I've never seen
yeah,
it. I've heard people talk of it, but never seen it. But ultimately, you could take something to put something on it topically, something like
yeah.
aloe vera is very soothing. You could put tea tree oil on it to stop it becoming infected.
Oh, that's
You can
interesting.
use colloidal silver or oil of oregano, all help prevent infections.
Yeah, it
So there's
doesn't
lots of
it just
different
spreads
things.
and is itchy and
Yeah,
annoying, and but I do use steroids for that. After I use, like, a topical cream or whatever, and then I'm like, "Okay, it's not stopping," but I don't
yeah.
ever complete it. I always just take, like, 1 or 2 just to, like, shock it to stop it, and then that's it. So but yeah, so I just kind of I was just curious because I hate taking medication. I feel like it's poison to our body,
Yeah.
and I would much rather have, like, holistic ways, but I feel like a lot of times, like, people, we don't give ourselves, our bodies, an opportunity to heal itself. And yeah, I've heard of just all different types of ways. So, what is probably, like, one of your biggest, like, transformations that you've seen in one of your clients?
In my clients, I think an understanding of themselves. I have
Mhm.
several people come to me with emotional problems,
Mm.
and they identify the emotional problems, or they identify a misunderstanding of a part of them in their life and their relationships with their spouse.
Mm.
And really, it's like I work with people's minds. I don't tend to recommend products or potions or
Yeah.
homeopathic remedies. I tend to work with people's minds because most people can identify something that is the root cause of their symptoms.
Yeah.
So it's in working with the majority of people, there's regularly an emotional underpinning. And when they see that, and recognize it for what it is and see it through the eyes of the adult they are now, whereas they've held it inside or through the eyes of the child that they were. So they can see it with more knowledge and skills and awareness. And it starts piecing, they can start piecing how their life started becoming challenging because of the survival skills that they learned because of what happened to them. So it's not so much about what actually happened to them. It's more about how they held it as that child and how they're holding it now. So if they can look at it through logical, rational, adult eyes with the knowledge and skills, it changes the way they look at it. Because they put it more into context. So it's about understanding what happened, why it happened, who was involved. So people tend to have a much deeper awareness of themselves after working with me because they find the root cause of their health problems and symptoms, and then we work on supporting them to work through those, to change the way they look back at that situation and look at the symptoms and the message behind the symptoms.
That's amazing. Yeah, I feel like my best friend, I wish he would talk to you, but he has gotten all this additional sickness and stuff, but that's just because he holds on to anger and he
A
won't
lot
let
of
it
people
go.
do. A lot.
Yeah. So I think that's awesome. And so helping people transform through that, because it's like, I guess I always think of it like when we have like certain perceptions and the way that we receive things, it's like those filters that we have in our brains. And because of our past experiences, we filter, like all of us. That's why everybody could see like an accident happen or something like that, but everybody sees something different. It's because we're seeing it through our own perceptions. So what you're saying is like you kind of help people heal on those perceptions so that they can have a better way of an outlook on themselves or life or whatever.
I help them to take this mask, if you like, or these binoculars that, they filter out all of this world and only see this part of the world. So I try and help them to open up to seeing things differently. Because 5 and 4 make 9, but so do 6 and 3. If we've always ever known 5 and 4 make 9, and then somebody go, but all this 6 and 3 does too. Like, wow, I never knew that existed. And I was in that same boat, when I started my healing. I had no idea that all this other type of healing was available to me that we can tap into, that's innate. We're born with it.
Yeah. It's kind of like when especially like when I was a little bit younger, like I would be so moody, like coming up to my menstrual cycle and stuff like that. And then I'd be like, why am I so emotional today? And then I'd be like, oh, I'm about to, start my cycle. And I was like, okay. Then I was, for some reason, able to manage my emotions better because I knew what was happening and I knew what was going on. And I was like, okay, I know if I'm feeling this rage or whatever I have going on inside of me, all these emotions I don't know how to deal with. I know I just need to step back away from everyone and just chill out. And so that was like, so the sooner I was able to recognize that I was about to do that, then it allowed me to help me manage those emotions. I didn't understand what was happening inside of me better,
Yeah, because our life runs in cycles, and menstrual cycles, we can, in between the actual menstruation itself, we can go with the flow of life. And then when we start to menstruate, we need to chill out, relax, take some downtime, look after ourselves. And not do anything too strenuous, and literally follow the flow of our own cycles.
So it's like it's crazy, just like how our bodies work and how it really grows with that. So question, Sarah, now that you've been able to help other people with their healing journeys, you've helped yourself with your healing journey. So do you think after you've had well, hold on, I'm going to change this question. The question is, what do you think is probably like a client or whatever that you've had that helped change you the most and becoming even better, of a better version of yourself, of Sarah?
I think hearing other people on their own journeys put mine into perspective. And
Mm-hmm.
we're always healing, but we can get stuck in the sick phase, and then we recognize that, and then we can get stuck in the healing phase,
Yeah.
and actually life is passing us by. So for me, it put my healing into perspective to go, actually, I've done that, and I don't need to keep thinking I'm healing, because my body heals whether I think about it or not. And
Yeah.
just allow my body to do what it does naturally, but support it, be proactive with my health.
Okay. So that probably helps you to stay consistent in your healing journey as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it's about not, people look at it as denying themselves something to become healthy. I've got to give that up to become healthy. But actually, it's more about a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle that supports our health. Do I want to be old and infirm and in pain? No. So I'm living a healthy life now, being aware of what I think, what I do, what I eat, how I
Right.
live my life, so that I'm not old and infirm. Because we associate age and aging with more and more infirmities. But why? Because our body cells are always replenishing and replacing
Yeah.
themselves. So why should they suddenly start malforming and we succumb to age-related problems?
Interesting. Interesting. Well, I guess as we introduce free radicals and toxins and stuff like that into our body, it
Yeah,
starts to deform them a little bit, and then they start duplicating the deformed ones, and then that's part of
yeah, yeah.
the aging process, I guess. Yeah.
And that's about being aware of what you put into and onto
Yeah.
your body to
Yeah.
reduce that incidence.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. I had for a while, I was like totally like wheat free, sugar free, and starches. But I started to reintroduce it. It was just so I could cleanse. It was like a 3-week, 4-week cleanse. And so I started to reintroduce sugar. Then I got a freaking, my face broke out, and I was like, oh my gosh, my body does not like that.
Yeah,
And I think it was after I had like one soda, and I'd had soda in like a month, and I used to be kind of addicted to it. And I was not kind of. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. But I needed like the sugar and the seltzer to rest my stomach. But I was like, oh my gosh, now like this zit on my, I was like, I can't. So I was like, okay, I can't do that. So, but at least that was like a tell, like, okay, so that causes this reaction. And I kind of like, like when we have our emotions and stuff like that as well. It's like, okay, when I get into like this type of situation, this is either anxiety or this type of stuff comes up. And so, okay, so that's not good,
and it's about being aware of your triggers as well, because it's so easy to eat emotionally,
Yeah.
because we've been raised to eat for happiness, eat at the cinema or the theatre, eat at the wedding, eat at the funeral, eat at the birthday party, go out and eat. So there's food involved everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
And once we recognize that our life is being run around food, we can take a step back and, do I really need to eat? Am I hungry?
Yeah.
Am I reaching for sugar because I'm feeling an emotion I don't want to feel? So eating this sugar is
Mm.
just going to squash it down.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's about being more in tune with our bodies and understanding what their messages are.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that's amazing. And so, do you help both men and women? Do you coach? Okay,
Yes.
so you coach everyone. And so what does that look like if someone wanted to come to you and get coached? Like, what does that look like? What's the process?
So I obviously make an appointment, and I coach people all over the world. And
Okay.
it's a video phone call. So it's either on WhatsApp or Google Meet, so that we can see each other, and the person I'm coaching can have full access to me, not just my
Mm.
voice, but my whole face, personality, and everything. And I just ask them to give me an overview of what's happened in their life and allow them to give me the information that they feel is relevant to give me. And I just allow them to talk and offload. And whilst they're talking, sometimes there's red flags going up in my mind as, to come back to that point. But I allow them to finish talking. And then I often ask for, can you give me more clarity around that? What happened there? What did you feel or see or think, and just explore with curiosity some events that they don't feel is significant, but from the work that I've done, I know it's had a significant impact in their health. So I just question them and get them to become curious about their past and about their habits and their behaviors. And I ask probing questions so that they find their own answers. I can often see or think I can see where their issue is, but I don't like to make that assumption. It's like I will ask the questions around that to get them to probe into themselves deeper to
Yeah.
come up with the answer. So ultimately, they have the questions, but they also have the answers.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I love that. You just help them find the answers within themselves.
Yes, that's
Okay.
it.
Okay. And I feel like you should just do a lot of advertising in the United States, because I just feel like we're just such an unhealthy country,
Yes.
which is we're supposed to be like this first world, whatever. But I feel like we're just so unhealthy with our relationship to food, our relationship to
Yes.
money, our relationship to traumas, our relationships to our parents, areas where we feel like we've been victimized and
Yeah.
just
But doctors and pharmaceuticals as well.
yes, that relationship with that as well. And yeah, so it's like my doctor, he really wants the best for me, but he's quick to prescribe, some stuff. And yeah, but I'm just thinking of all these people that I was
Yeah.
my goddaughter, and she's type 1 diabetic, and then has
Wow.
it's developed other stuff for her, and she's only 15, and then they eat a lot of processed foods and stuff like that, and it's just and then other other people that use food as their comfort,
Yes.
and just and then our relationship with our finances. I have a horrible relationship with my finances.
Yeah.
And then just really kind of getting into those root causes of stuff, and
Yeah.
sometimes going to start to deal with that, that there's going to be some trauma there,
Yeah.
and you're going to have to do some self-realizations to ourselves to say, hey, I really need to work through this.
Yeah.
And this is going to be hard, and it's going to be kind of taking some crust that's been there for 10 years and scraping it out, and that's painful, and it's hard to do, and it takes time. And
Yeah.
but when you get to the bottom of that, it's so clean and clear.
It is. And I like to use the word challenging, because if we
Okay.
say it's hard and difficult, our subconscious mind's
Yeah.
processing that, oh, that's way too hard. That's way too difficult. Can't
Yeah.
possibly do that. But if we use challenging, we can overcome a challenge.
Yeah.
But it's easier with support.
Yeah.
But it's once you can find the courage and confidence to want to start healing.
Yeah.
The beauty of healing the root cause is when you find that and you heal that, you've healed.
Yeah.
Unless you develop those habits that triggered that root cause. If you continue those behaviors that cause your symptoms are going to reappear. But once you've acknowledged that root cause and dealt with it and understood it and let it go, it's like somebody just offloading a weight off your heart or your shoulders. Suddenly you feel a lot lighter because you're no longer carrying that hurt, that grief, that pain from all those years ago.
Yeah. 100%. It's like just really kind of working through that. So yeah. So I just were you should I'm sure do you have a lot of clients in the United States?
I have some, yes.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah. So and then like if someone comes to you, do you do some filterings in the beginning to see if they really want to go through this process and like make a change and grow?
I find people tend to find me when they're ready to work on it.
Got you.
So they're like, I want to work with you. So I'm like, okay, let's do it.
Okay.
But in the beginning, when I'm asking questions and probing, I can tell if they really will heal or if they're just on their healing journey, but not quite ready to heal. You know, they want to heal, but there's some hesitancy. So it's that first session tends to clarify what the person actually wants.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. And okay. And so how can you tell if someone really wants to heal or not?
Just from asking them and you know, asking them what went on and how willing they are to share some information. I was coaching, I can't remember if it was American or Canadian gentleman a couple of years ago, and he had cancer. And he came to me, he found me through a podcast I'd done. He came to me, want to work with you. And after our second session, he emailed me and said his wife wasn't happy with all the details that he was telling me, even though when he was telling me and he said, my wife says this, I'm like, your wife's a wise woman. You know, so she was trying to help him, but he felt that he needed the help outside. But she wasn't happy with him divulging intimate details in our coaching, even though it's totally confidential and non-judgmental and compassionate. He wanted to heal and find the root cause of the cancer, which needed the details to be picked apart, really.
Right.
And he had to email me and said, I'm really sorry, I can't continue working with you because my wife's not happy. And I understand that, but it was really sad because, you know, we were starting to make progress on finding the reason he developed the cancer. But when his wife said she wasn't happy with him sharing the details, I'm like, well, that's her choice. That's her prerogative. She's, you know, if that's how it is, that's how it is. I totally understand.
Yeah. Oh, that's so sad. I hope he ended up being okay.
And me too. And I've just not heard from him since. But, you know, that's how it is with relationships. Some of my clients pop back into my WhatsApp and drop me a message. Hey, I'm doing great. You know, I just want to share I've done this or I've done that. And which is lovely.
Yeah, that's amazing. So yeah, because I mean that's gotta like help you know that you're on the right track and you're really helping people and you've made that difference in other people's lives that have been ready to make that difference. Yeah. So yeah, I think it's I find it sad when like you have like really good guys because like I just feel there's a lot of crappy guys out there, but there's a lot of crappy women too. But when you have like really good guys and this guy was like wanting to make this change and really get to, which would have been some healing in their marriage, I'm sure, and some healing in him, and where his body could have fought off this subconscious toxins that was whirling around in his brain. And then the woman just doesn't support them and their journey instead of just taking a step back and stop trying to control everything and just allow him to heal, you know? That's
Yeah,
sad. That's
it is sad. It is. But, we can't control that situation. We
cannot.
can't control other people. And
No.
that's a lesson in itself.
Oh
We want
yeah.
our loved ones, our nearest and dearest, we want what's best for them and we
Yeah.
try and guide them, but they don't want to be guided. They just want to do their own thing. And I'm like, well, that's your choice. That's your soul contract. That's what
Yeah.
you're here to do. I could just keep planting those seeds.
Yeah.
But if you're not willing to grow them and nurture them, it is
Yeah.
what it is.
I'm like kind of like a fixer person. So I had to learn like with especially like my female friends or even my guy friends, when they're calling to like event, female friends vent more and they're just calling just to vent, not to like provide any advice or suggestions
Yeah.
unless they're asking me for it. And then so I just keep it very limited because if not, even though I have my own crap to fix in my own life, I'll be like, oh, it's so clear for you. It's not clear for me, but it's definitely clear for you. So that's exciting. So if someone wanted to book something, Sarah, like outside of like your book, Heal Yourself, what is probably one of your favorite books that's helped you in your journey and helped you help other people in theirs?
Oh, I don't have many favorites of anything. I just
Or
like
one
a
that
lot
like made a
of things.
difference in your life. Yeah.
The very first book I read was Your Life is Waiting by I can't remember the lady's name, and I think she was just like a one book lady, and that was it. And we were guided to read that book when I first started my coach training. And previous to that, I hated books. I could read, but I just didn't like reading. They just bored me. And I read that book, and then we were recommended some more books, and I bought all those, and I read all those, and suddenly I've got this zest for reading because I've
That's
found what it is
great.
that I like to read.
Yeah.
And it was basically about manifestation, about understanding that we can go through the drudgery of life living on our subconscious, but actually when we become conscious and work out what we don't want, to be able to work out what we do want, and then sit in a meditation thinking, feeling, being in that what we do want, it helps us to manifest that. So that was like mind-blowing because that was all new information to me. Never read anything like it before.
Yeah.
Excuse Me, Your Life is Waiting. That's what it's called. So that was my very first book to open my eyes. And then after that, I've got Joe Dispenza, Greg Braden, a whole
I love
host
that
of
title though.
loads and loads of spiritual healing, natural books. Lissa Rankin, Jeffrey, what's his surname in the book Cured? I've just got a bookshelf full of books.
Yeah. No, I think that's great. I love that the title, Your Life is Waiting. It's so true because sometimes we just allow our life like a movie screen just to go right in front of us and we just walk through like zombies, in it, and instead of really experiencing it. So that's great. Yeah, just I'm like let's create memories, let's create magical moments for ourselves and our family, and I try to do that for my parents now.
And they need to be conscious moments. We need to be stepping out of autopilot from our subconscious and being conscious in those moments to make those magical memories.
Yeah. That's so true. I took my dad on a fishing trip recently. I didn't go on the boat with him. I dropped him off with a gentleman that was doing the fishing expedition or whatever. And I was invited, but I said, no, I just want my dad to enjoy this. He doesn't need to have his daughter around hovering, And it was like he was smiling ear to ear the whole day after that. It was great.
Fabulous.
So, yeah. So okay, well that's amazing. So if someone wanted to find you, Sarah, where would they be able to do that?
Everything is on my website. So www.sarahdawkins.com. That's SARAHDAWKINS.com. My book is there. My podcast is there. all the information about me and where to find me and all my socials.
Okay. That's amazing. Yeah. And then on there, they can also get your book. And you're in what? English? What are the Dutch, I think?
English, Spanish, Dutch, and French.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So whether you speak English, Spanish, Dutch, or French, you'll be able to read the book.
Yes.
Right. And so, and then you have it on Amazon. I'm going to follow you.
Yes.
On here. Okay. I got to sign in. Okay. Amazing. And so what is like, do you have like a special catchphrase or quote or something, or like a life verse that you live by?
What really helped me through my own healing was, if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got. Henry Ford. And that really helped me step out of my comfort zone, step out of my job as a nurse and train as a coach, doing new things, trying new things, making memories.
How scary was that when you first made the decision to step away from nursing?
Really scary. It took me several years because my dream job, I always wanted to be a nurse in a hospital. And there I was working my dream job. I'm feeling really unfulfilled. But aligning with Sarah's the nurse. Well, who is Sarah without the nurse? And I had no idea who that was. So that was a whole authenticity journey.
Did you go through like coaching training and stuff like that while you were still nursing?
I had my registration. Yes. Yes, I was still doing some part. I was an entrepreneur because I'd stepped away from the hospital, but I was still a registered nurse. So I was doing some DNA work, some medical legal work. I'd written some guidelines that I was for a procedure that I used to do there was no national or local guidelines. So I did that and sold that internationally. I was writing for nursing journals. I was doing a bit of training of the healthcare workers for all the mandatory updates they've got to do. So I had my fingers in lots of pies, but I wasn't working in the hospital. So I was a nurse entrepreneur when I undertook my coach training. And then after I'd done my coach training, I still was a registered nurse and I still had my first business, but I was so frustrated with still, who am I if I'm not a nurse? Because I was award-winning entrepreneur, but as a nurse.
Yeah.
And so it was a real battle inside to work out who I was, to be able to step outside of nursing and say, actually, that's it, surrender my license, take my name off the register, stop paying the annual fee and go headlong into coaching and set up my second business.
Wow, that's amazing, Sarah.
It was a journey.
Yeah. So that took you what, like 3 years to kind of work through all that with yourself?
I did my training in 2016 and I finally surrendered my license in 21.
Oh, wow.
So 5 years. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So that was really like you really cutting the umbilical cord when you surrendered your license.
Yes.
Because it's so easy to keep that and go through and still have access to that. But you wanted to like burn the bridges or burn the boats at the shore, right?
Yeah, because every year I had to sign to stay on the register to say I'm upholding the nursing standards and basically the medical model. And actually I wasn't. I was teaching people, coaching people to live outside of it, to work with themselves.
Yeah.
So I felt quite a fraud signing to say I want to be a nurse. But like you say, it was an umbilical cord. It was something I could always jump back into.
Yeah.
If we needed the money. It was easy work because I knew what I was doing. But actually in 21, I'm just like, no, I need to stop that now. I just need to give that up. And actually, I've not looked back. You know, I had all that fear for all those years and nothing happened.
Yeah. Sometimes that fear is like kind of what stops us.
Yeah.
But I think that's amazing, Sarah. It's like you really just press through. And not only that, but you probably ended up getting way more clients. You were so much more open for people because you didn't have this part of you that felt kind of like subconsciously like a fraud, even though you weren't, because you were amazing at what you did within nursing. And I'm sure that you made a positive impact in a lot of people's lives. And then, but this was like your new journey.
Once I'd healed myself, I want to tell everybody this is possible. I want to help all those who want to be helped. And as a nurse, I'm not doing that because I'm just helping them to get over an operation. I'm helping them with pharmaceuticals. I'm helping them to stay in the medical model. And I wanted to stop that and jump ship and go, actually, your body's amazing. It heals itself. We just need to help you to support it.
Yeah. I remember my mom had her second stroke, and she was in the hospital, and they just wanted to like shoot her up with like the flu, the pneumonia, like all those. And I was like, no. I was like, her body needs to heal right now. I was like, we don't need to introduce additional toxins to her system. Her body needs to be on a healing journey. So, so I was like, no. And the lady looked at me and she's like, well, she couldn't really talk. And I was like, well, I'm her power of attorney. You don't have any authorization to do anything without asking me first. And the answer is no. But thank God I had walked in the door right when she was about to do it. And I was like, oh no. Because I was like, what are those needles for? And then that's when she told me, and then I was very curt with her, and she just kind of looked at me. But I needed her to understand that like there was just no wiggle room here. This is just like, you need to just stop it. So
brilliant.
So I love what you do. I'm totally gonna get it. I want to give it to my goddaughter. I hope she reads it, but that's up to her. I don't have any control over that. And that's up to her to make decisions for herself in her life. She's 15. She's going to be 18 in 3 years. She'll be out of high school, and then she'll have to make decisions for herself as an adult, you know?
Yeah.
So I can only provide and plant the seeds, right, Sarah?
Absolutely. It's up to other people if they're going to nurture those seeds.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, Sarah. Well, thank you so much. Is there any last piece of wisdom or anything like that you'd like to share?
I'd like to say our body heals, and it's more efficient when we support it. But you have to be able to believe that your body can heal. And if you're struggling to believe like I did, like I was, look at when you cut yourself and bruise yourself. You don't need to think about how it's going to heal. You know it's going to heal. Go online, read testimonies, find websites and blogs, buy my book. But just know that there's a whole host of people out there who've healed a whole range of health problems, proving that we can heal. And the more you read, the more you'll be able to believe that it is possible. And the more you believe it, the more you'll be able to do it.
That's awesome. I love that. Well, Sarah, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate you. And you do have your own podcast of your own, Heal Yourself with Sarah Dawkins. So definitely when they go to your website, sarahdawkins.com, they'll be able to check all that out. I love your website. It's great.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Sarah. Have an amazing day.
Thank you. And you too.
Evening. All right. Bye.
Bye.
Everyone, thank you so much for tuning in to another You Are Loved podcast. Absolutely amazing. Please check us out at youareloved.store for your own journal and planner. We have one coming out for 2025 that does have like a budget tracker in it, a health and wellness tracker, all kinds of cool stuff, and allows you to do a little bit of journaling as well. Have an amazing day.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of You Are Loved. If you have any topic ideas or would like to be a guest on the show, please hit us up on Instagram at youareloved.store.